Professional baseball presents a fascinating financial paradox. You have young athletes signing multi-million-dollar contracts only to find themselves completely broke a few years later. Meanwhile, the billionaire owners who sign those checks routinely plead poverty to the public. Behind the bright stadium lights, front offices are using hidden accounting tricks and even weaponized biometric data to ensure the house always wins. The illusion usually starts on draft day. We watch an 18-year-old put on a team cap, shake hands with the commissioner, and seemingly enter a world of instant wealth and glamorous athletic royalty. The media treats them like they've just won the lottery. But the draft operates as what insiders call Houdini's black box. Front offices act less like sports executives and more like private investigators. Take the case of former first-round pick Jacob Turner. Teams will dig into a prospect's background, their college commitments, and their family's financial situation to uncover the absolute lowest dollar amount that player will accept to sign. They manufacture artificial leverage before the kid even steps up to the plate. And when that first check finally clears, the math hits hard. This diagram illustrates the year-one money trap. A player might sign a massive deal with a $1.2 million initial bonus, but immediately, steep federal and state taxes tear away huge chunks of that money. Within days, that $1.2 million shrinks to roughly $650,000. It is a lot of money, but it is nowhere near the limitless wealth the public imagines. Then comes the actual job. Instead of private jets and five-star resorts, the reality of a newly drafted player involves grueling bus rides through the minor leagues, sleeping on couches in cheap hotels, and trying to perform on 3 hours of sleep. The corporate reality of the minor leagues is devoid of emotion. If you struggle at a normal desk job, you usually get a performance improvement plan or a warning. In professional baseball, you can be benched, demoted, or cut entirely in the middle of a game, without a single word of explanation. The millions promised on draft day obscure the true dynamic. The system is meticulously designed so that the front office holds all the financial and psychological leverage from the very first handshake. If the players are being squeezed and taxed, we have to look at the other side of the ledger. Where does the billions of dollars in league revenue actually go? The answer lies in a highly specific form of creative accounting. A professional sports team can report a massive net loss on their official paper ledger, sometimes tens of millions of dollars in the red, while the billionaire owner simultaneously rakes in a heavy personal profit. To understand how, we have to go back to an owner named Bill Veeck. Veeck realized that in normal business, you can write off the declining value of a piece of factory equipment over time. He successfully convinced the IRS that human athletes should be treated the exact same way. Looking at this visual scale, you can see how the Veeck loophole operates. An owner takes the massive value of a player's contract and writes it off over several years as a business loss. The player's contract transforms into a tax deduction block, directly offsetting the revenue the owner brings in from tickets and merchandise. Because of that deduction block, it pushes the official team profit below zero on paper. The team legally reports a financial loss. Meanwhile, the actual cash generated by the team quietly fills a separate column, allowing the owner to build immense wealth while claiming the franchise's bleeding money. This specific accounting maneuver turns human athletes from mere employees into highly effective walking tax shields for billionaires. Writing off players is only half the strategy. The other half involves making sure the biggest piles of cash never touch the team's official books at all. Owners do this by creating separate holding companies to absorb their massive television revenues. By siloing this broadcast money into regional sports networks, the cash stays completely isolated. Take George Steinbrenner's creation of the Yes Network. The network generates staggering amounts of money broadcasting Yankees games. But because the network is technically a separate entity, that media revenue doesn't show up on the baseball team's official financial ledger. Owners maintain this illusion of poverty for a very specific reason. When it comes time to negotiate the collective bargaining agreement with the players' union, the owners point to their heavily engineered financial losses to justify suppressing player wages and limiting revenue sharing. But the players aren't the only ones paying the price. Owners take those same manufactured ledger losses to City Hall. They claim the team is struggling to survive, threatening to relocate the franchise to extort local governments into fully funding massive billion-dollar new stadiums using public tax dollars. Creative accounting serves a dual purpose. It's an aggressive tool to extract public subsidies from the taxpayers, while simultaneously pleading poverty to keep the player salaries in check. Recently, the front office's quest for leverage has moved past financial ledgers and directly into the human body. Professional sports teams are now heavily investing in wearable tech, like the Zephyr bioharness. Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement includes a specific provision known as Attachment 56. This rule officially allows teams to collect a player's biometric data, marketing it to the athletes as a voluntary tool for injury prevention and health monitoring. These sensors capture a constant stream of intimate physiological markers, resting heart rate, sleep quality, and central nervous system fatigue. This wireframe diagram maps what front offices are actually looking at, the invisible data points that determine an athlete's long-term worth. Tracking the nervous system shifts the power dynamic. Teams have moved beyond observing outward performance on the field. They now collect and analyze the data of a player's internal biology. Front offices quietly exploit this internal data to evaluate a player's trade value. If the biometric markers show severe bodily fatigue that hasn't affected their swing yet, a team can ship that player off to a rival before the hidden fatigue turns into a very public, very expensive injury. This creates a massive information asymmetry during contract extensions. Teams can sit across the negotiating table and lowball a player based on internal bodily data that the player themselves may not even fully comprehend. In the modern business of baseball, the ultimate advantage belongs to the side with the most data. Hidden draft intentions, shadow media revenues, and even a pitcher's own heartbeat have become the defining forms of leverage. If you want to dive deeper into the hidden systems running our world, hit the like button and subscribe to the Viral Scope. And let me know in the comments, do you think professional athletes should have the right to keep their biometric data private? I'll see you in the next one.